Okay, amazing. Okay, so let's get started. I'm just gonna continue to paste this in here as people join. Okay. All right. So, hello and welcome to the masterclass. This is Content That Converts, and I'm so excited because we're celebrating 3 years in business. It's crazy to me that it's been 3 years as an entrepreneur. It's just doesn't seem real at all. But I'm so excited for you guys to be here and to dive into this. So, as you are popping in, please make sure to access the workbook. It's just going to be there for you to fill out throughout the masterclass together. Okay. All right. So yeah, I'm so excited that you're here. This means that you're ready to step into your CEO role and start empowering and serving your community by kicking ass through your groundbreaking offers. So again, like this is your time. This is your time to be selfish. This is your time for you to put your business first, to put you first. So I'm just so happy and excited that you are here and a part of this. So some housekeeping things. Number one, make sure that you have a pen and notepad ready. Again, I have the workbook. So if you want to, navigate that while the masterclass is happening, then go for it. We will be diving into lots of gold nuggets that you don't want to miss. So always have that pen and paper ready. Number two, please mute your mic. At the end, I encourage you to ask anything as I'll be hosting an Instagram live to answer any questions that you might have about content marketing and selling. It's just going to be easier to have everything in one space for you to navigate, watch back. For those of you who are going to be hopping off early or anything, or won't be able to make the masterclass today, if you're watching the replay, you have 48 hours for access to the replay to dive into everything. Number three, again, don't hesitate to record a boomerang or share this on your story. Honestly, it makes me feel over the moon when I see you like loving my content and even just like messaging me about it. It just makes me so happy. So don't hesitate to record anything or share this on your story. And number four, I'm going to have a lot of like curious pop in the chat ones. I just really love interactive masterclasses and I love like having you a part of this. So you're going to see some like pop in the chats and don't hesitate to, I'm going to continue sharing this. I'm going to continue to share that in here. Okay. So curious, pop in the chat, introduce yourself. What is your name or IG handle, your industry or the niche that you're in? And three, what are you most excited to learn about today? I'm just gonna view everything. I see so many friendly faces here. So exciting. So yeah, just pop in the chat. Sarah, hello. Nice to meet. This is amazing. I love like networking. It's really crazy how like expansive networking can be. I had just like last month, I had one client who has never talked to another one of my clients of mine, and they literally outsourced and started working together. So I just love like the community and how we're able to just network through an IG story, Amazing. Hello, everyone. Okay, I'm so excited to go back and read through all of your introductions. Amazing. Okay, I'm definitely gonna, pop a message in on Instagram and DM each and every one of you to thank you for coming. Okay, amazing. Okay, so let's see. All right. So let's kind of do an interactive moment. So again, curious, and I want to hear your thoughts. Raise your hand if you have ever feared that your content isn't valuable enough. Like just a raise of hands. Yeah, I felt that as well many, many times. Amazing. Okay. Yeah, so I fear my content isn't valuable enough. So curious again, pop in the chat. How much do you think this mug is worth? Like this one right here, the North Mountain one. Would you say it's like $20, $5, $3, free, $50, or you'd literally pay to get rid of it? Like, what would you say the value of this mug is? Okay. Okay, I see a lot of free, $20, maybe a little bit more than 9. Very specific, but I love that. Free, 20, never seen a mug that fancy. Amazing. Free, 5, wait, that 50, maybe 20. Okay. All right. So I see a lot of amazing responses here. I see a lot of, 200. Okay, that's amazing. All right. So this mug, drum roll, was priceless for me. It's priceless for me, but it was free. It was on the side of the road. But again, like value is in the eye of the beholder. So like next time you think your content isn't valuable enough, think again. I want to kind of share with you the story of this mug and why it's priceless for me. So this is the mug itself. This is me, and this is my boyfriend Tobias, for those who don't know. And we're high school sweethearts. A little story time. We're high school sweethearts, and when I was 20 years old and he was 22, we actually moved from, thanks guys, we actually moved from Toronto, and I'm a Canadian girly, for those who don't know, Toronto to a 16-hour drive away to the east coast of Canada. So we literally moved into an apartment without ever seeing it, like just online photos and such. And it was a risky move because we weren't in the best area. We weren't really loving on our apartment. It was pretty depressing. It was a 1-bedroom and just wasn't great. So we ended our lease early and we moved into our now loft apartment in a better neighborhood, and just like overall our mental health was a lot better. But after a couple of days of moving in, we were walking around and we literally saw this like old cardboard box on the side of the road with like this mug and some other things in it, but typically we would never like look twice. And we just thought it was so unique. We've never seen like a mug shaped like this. And it had like Nova Scotia in it, which is the province that we're in. So just to have like that first moment of, okay, this is like the right path for us. We're definitely at a good place in our lives right now. So for me, this is priceless. For some of you, it might be like, I'd pay to get rid of it. Like it's whatever, right? So next time you think your content isn't valuable, I want you to think again, because it's always valuable to someone. And you might think, you might be underestimating the amount of value that you have or the amount of transformation that you have around your offers. But again, like someone out there needs your offer. Someone out there is like waiting for their life to change just from you and your energy. So again, like I want you to put yourself out there in that way. Okay, another one. This is the last one for until we dive into all the content, but raise of hands. Have you ever felt that none of your ideal clients are watching, so you want to wait to sell your offer, or you want to wait to post? How many of you have ever felt this? Okay. Okay. Amazing. I see a lot of hand raises, so All right. So, okay, lurkers. I always remind my clients and like everyone I coach, there's so many lurkers out there. And just think of yourself as well as like your buying patterns or the way that you buy and invest in your business. Like I'd have to say I'm definitely a lurker myself. My now mentor, I don't think I've ever had a conversation with her, and I just like messaged her out of the blue because I've just been consuming some of her content, and I messaged her out of the blue like, how can I work with you? I'm ready. So again, there's always lurkers. I feel fear before launching anything, like every time, even if it's free, but I take that fear and I let it fuel me, the launch and like who I'm going to be serving within the offer. So I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous before hopping on this masterclass today. Like I'd be lying through my teeth. But is this going to be the best thing ever? Yes. And I'm so excited to dive into, all the amazing things now. Okay, so what we will be covering today. So based off of my signature framework for the sustainable growth of a business, it comes down to these 5 pillars. So it comes down to your ideal client symmetry, offer creation, fine-tune messaging, selling your offer, and dreaming transformation. So we are going to be doing a micro focus on fine-tuned messaging, which involves attraction marketing and reverse engineering your content. I am happy to say, like, the place where I'm at right now within my business and with my clients, we all have to agree that selling doesn't feel icky, or creating content feels really aligned in that way, because we've reverse engineered it so much where we know that it's attracting our ideal clients and it feels really good to us. So we will be diving into exactly like how to make that happen for yourself and your business. So we will be identifying the gaps of where you are at right now first, and what your ideal client symmetry looks like, the foundations of creating content that converts, and actionable steps with the content production. So I'm just kind of going to bring you through about where you are right now and, how to get to where you need to be. So first, let's identify the gaps. So raise of hands, who here is struggling with at least one of these gaps? So either A, you are at a frozen state when it comes to creating content. You don't know what to post or how to talk about it. You might be overthinking a lot of like the aesthetics as well. AKA maybe you're a perfectionist. Been there, done that. Just a raise of hands if you have felt, one of these 3. Now, B, content overdrive. So you absolutely love creating content and you're super consistent putting content out there. And the topics do light you up a lot, but you feel like your ideal clients aren't eating it up as much as you'd like them to, right? So you are basically like posting to be posting right now, and it feels like there's a lot of fuel in that way, but there's not a lot of conversion or attraction visibility happening. Or C, content confusion. So you know what you want to create, but feel like some things are missing right now. Maybe you're a super analytical person and it doesn't seem like anything is nurturing or converting. So right now you're kind of like having lots of time planning, but not necessarily hitting go, not necessarily like pushing anything out there, but you're thinking of ideas. There's a lot of creation happening behind the scenes. Okay. So I see a lot of hand raises. Again, for those who are just joining, I'm gonna add in the workbook again here. I wish I could pin it in the chat. All right. So A, if you are feeling like stagnant within your content production, like you're at a frozen state when it comes to creating content, or you don't know what to post or talk about, and you're overthinking a lot of the aesthetics, I want you to focus more on the intentions of the post versus aesthetics. And I know right now it's really like, what? That's so easy to say. But we're going to be diving into like what that would look like for you. I also want you to really lean into your content pillar spreadsheet that we will also dive into, because as it's reverse engineered, the hard part is already done and you are just producing content from then. Because all the research, all of the nurturing is already kind of mapped out, the structure is there. So the reason why you might feel frozen is because you're lacking structure or direction in, you know, what you want to preach, what you want to talk about, and, you know, how you actually serve your clients. So right now you might be struggling with, you know, where you fall within your ideal client roadmap and how you're able to support them, which makes it difficult for you to emulate that or communicate that within your content. Okay. Now, B, content overdrive. So you absolutely love creating content and you're like posting, you're on the go, but you're not seeing the results that you're wanting to see. If you're feeling this way, I want you to focus more on making your content about your ideal clients and selling the transformation versus the deliverables. So really lean into your ideal clients' reality, what their needs, wants, and desires are when it comes to their business. So the reason why you might feel like a disconnect between you and your ideal clients is because of what you think your ideal clients are struggling with, but not the reality of it. So many times, and I've done this as well, I would think that my ideal clients or people in my audience are struggling with, for an example, let's see, struggling with hopping on their Instagram stories, right? For a long time, I was like, you just have to show up on video, you just have to show up on your Instagram stories. But there's so many layers to it that I wasn't acknowledging, right? And I wasn't really listening to what my ideal clients are, because for me, I'm like an expert or I specialize in this. And for me, in my head at the time, so easy, just hop on your Instagram stories, like just get out there, at least try. But again, this was like 2 years ago, but I wasn't acknowledging my clients and, all of the extraneous thoughts and feelings that went into showing up on Instagram stories and all the lived experiences that affected that. So it's important to acknowledge, empathize, and also, work your way with them through whatever they're feeling, what their reality is like. Okay. Now, C, content confusion. So this is you if you know what you want to create, but feel like something's missing. So if you're like a super analytical person, and you're putting content out there, but you're thinking and you're analyzing, over-analyzing exactly like what the numbers are looking like. So that's stopping you from hitting go. I want you to focus less on the numbers, but what the numbers mean to you and says about your content. Right? I want you to analyze your insights deeper and continue to tweak as you produce more and more content. So the more content you produce out there equals the more data that it's being produced. And that says more about, how a content piece performs well, how your audience or your ideal clients likes it. So the reason why you might feel like your content isn't converting, even when the numbers tell you that it should, it could be, clarity towards your offers. It could be, your call to action, and things like that. So I want to kind of work through the formula again, with each and every one of you to make sure that everything, all of the gaps are filled through this masterclass. Okay. So what does ideal client symmetry look like? I want you to kind of look at it as like being on the same wavelength as your ideal client. So your ideal clients, they have needs, they have wants, they have desires. You have the support, offer, and the transformation for them. Okay. So you're always kind of like matching their energy, being on the same wavelength as them. So they're like, I'm struggling with this. Okay, I can definitely support you in this area. This is what it'll look like. So again, I struggle with X, Y, and Z, or I want this out of my business. I have the solution to that. We can make that happen. So the key is you have to be able to listen and dive deeper into what your ideal clients are wanting and needing. But the symmetry comes from the listening, analyzing, then vocalizing it. So 95, I would say like 90 to 95% of my content doesn't come from like sitting down and coming up with the ideas. It comes from questions in the DMs. It comes from replies on my Instagram stories. It comes from, my coaching sessions with my clients, my group programs. Even like if you were to ask a question in our masterclass right now or towards the end, I would create content around that because it shows like that's what you're looking for from me, right? That's what you're needing more support from. And I would take that and create content out of that, which is really important with your ideal client symmetry. So curious again, I love these things. What areas do you specialize in? So when you look at how you support your clients and, what your offers are, what areas do you support your clients in? Is it like mindset, the foundations, systems, marketing, sales, clients, backend, creative? Where do you feel like, what area or areas do you fall? Okay, I see a lot of marketing, creative, marketing, mindset. Okay, creative, marketing, creative, marketing. Okay, back end and creative. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of marketing and creative in here. Systems. Okay, mindset and foundations. Amazing. Creative, mindset, marketing. Okay, I see a lot of creative and marketing and mindset. I see honestly a little of everything. Systems. Okay, back end. Okay, amazing. So the reason why I want to ask you this is because sometimes we can kind of go overboard in the sense of how we want to support or serve our clients, right? So within content, let's say you specialize in marketing and, let's say you specialize in marketing and one of your call to actions is help you land clients, right? But landing clients is a sales problem and solution. So having that, messaging gap, I guess you could say, or that gap in your messaging is, I help you with marketing, but I can give you a solution to a sales problem. There's no disconnect or symmetry in that way, right? So trust me, I have done this a million times in the early stages and finally nailed it down. But marketing is more so gaining visibility, generating leads. So for an example, like help you generate more leads, that would be a solution to a marketing problem for your clients. So it can be really, that's a gem. Yes, thank you. So just like that little tweak in messaging can really affect how your ideal clients consume or how they convert within a piece of content. So I want you to be really intuitive with that as well. Okay, so some reflective questions I want you to kind of think about, analyze are, what are my ideal clients struggling with? What does their business look like right now? What can I do specifically to solve that problem? And how will I be conducting this market research? Okay. Does anyone have any questions about market research and what that would look like for them? Just because ideal client, symmetry is really important to break down before you reverse engineer your content. So does anyone have any questions about, just pop it in the chat if you do, if you have any questions about what market research would look like for you or how to approach market research. Quick example. Okay, yep. So a quick example of market research would essentially be, having a poll up on your Instagram story. Let's say a lot of ideal clients are following you. I want you to be really intuitive again or attentive again to this, because if there are other people within your niche following you, your data could be skewed. So keep an eye out for who's voting on it. But making sure that you have like some market research question polls up, what I really like to do is sparking a conversation versus always having interactive polls. So for an example, I could talk about, marketing, again, marketing or selling your offers. And I could talk about, a story time of, let's say when a story time of selling my offer and what that looked like, what worked, what didn't work and such. And then after that, I could share, like, how do you feel about marketing or selling your offer? Pop it into this, question poll, I guess, like the Q&A tool sticker, and have conversations start that way, or reply back to my Instagram story. So that would be an example of market research, or you could even, again, market research can fall really between the conversations that you have with your ideal clients on a daily basis in the DMs, your comments, or even the clients that you work with currently, and just kind of asking them questions like, just curious, like, how come you decided to work with me? Or did any other pieces of content, stand out to you that pushed you to apply to work with me today? All of these questions are really important because it helps you collect that data of like what works best for you, and what your audience is really looking for from you. Okay. So I hope that answered your question about market research. Now, let's dive into, so what we really want to do is to take those pillars from above. So again, I saw a lot of marketing, which is amazing because my example next is about marketing, but marketing, backend or creative, whatever your pillar is, I want you to kind of create these different scenarios that fall into these pillars. And then we're going to dive into internal pain points. The scenario, one of the scenarios of the 5, doesn't have to be 5, but and then diving into the ripple effects of that. Okay. So for an example, marketing. So when it comes down to marketing, maybe your ideal clients or your clients are not seeing visibility. Maybe they're lacking engagement. They're not seeing a lot of inquiries. They're burning out, or they can't keep up with content production, which means consistency. So that is, all the areas or scenarios that you're seeing come up when it comes to marketing for your ideal clients. Now, the internal pain points is to make sure that you're utilizing this scenario. For an example, we're going to run with can't keep up with content production. Now, if you can't keep up with content production, so like posting content, being consistent with that, you're going to lack a lot of consistency, which means you're lacking the nurturing effects of your audience. And then that's going to create stagnant content, because if you're not marketing, that means you're not selling. If you're not selling, you're not landing clients, essentially. So we're seeing this domino effect. And this is just, I want you to really, I want to emphasize that this is just diving deeper, just from you analyzing your ideal clients. We don't really want to approach your content with like, all of these things are wrong within your business, and this is all the things that are going to go wrong or is going wrong. And the solution to that is to work with me, because we really want to sell through a place of empowerment versus a place of, just the pain point or, feeling that lack. Because if we're selling out of lack, you're going to attract unaligned clients who are investing out of lack, which we want clients who are, investing out of empowerment and ready to like elevate within their business. So even just like messaging in that way can shift who you're calling in. All right. So the foundations of creating content that converts. So what I want you to do is identify the problem or problems, and then identify the ripple effects of it. So basically what we've mapped out here are the problems. This is the ripple effects of it, essentially. And then I want you to share the awareness moment, share the breakthrough, share the transformation, the solution, the steps to get there, and the final call to action. All right. So for an example, identify the problem. So, this is very on the spot rhetorical example, but for an example, identify the problem. So, let's see, maybe it's an educational piece of content, and we're going to dive into what that would look like. But for an example, because you are feeling stagnant within your content production, that's going to create a lack of sustainability within your business and landing clients in the future, right? And come from a place of like, rhetorical or narrative storytelling of something that you've seen within your business, something, you've seen with your clients before, or just like a moment of like a perspective shift of like why they need to prioritize content production or posting content as much as they are with supporting their clients, right? Because if you're supporting your clients and you're not putting your business first, then that's going to mean that you're not going to have the time to support your clients in the future because you're catching up or you're putting out fires within your business. So it's important to kind of like go through the scenarios and kind of paint the whole picture for your ideal clients. Next is, again, like identify the ripple effects and share the awareness moment. So for an example, if you're going to be sharing like a story time about yourself, so if you're going to share a story time about yourself or an experience that you've had, this is great, especially if you haven't had a lot of testimonials or clients that you've worked with. Utilize yourself as your own testimonial. It's going to be, just as effective as long as you make sure you're structuring it and making it about your ideal clients through your content. So share the awareness moment, the moment that you're like, okay, I need to change something, right? Or the moment that your clients wanted to change something, that like light bulb moment, I guess you could say. And then share the breakthrough, like what they were talking about to themselves or what you were, talking to yourself through, like what you needed to change, what you needed to shift. So for an example, for a marketing problem, you can share like, maybe this is a really common thing to happen is, let's say you become booked out with your clients and then you weren't able to keep up with content production or posting content for months on end. And because of that, once your commitments were, over and maybe the client didn't re-sign, you're kind of starting back at square one, trying to keep up with the marketing production, the content, the selling all over again, which is not sustainable because if you had, if you had continuously marketed and sell your offer, even when you were booked out, that would have helped you sign on clients, after the commitments were over. And this is really common to happen. So, let's say you learned from that, you had this moment of like, okay, this is not sustainable anymore. I don't want to keep putting out fires within my business. So I, invested in this, or so I hopped on the masterclass today with Vicky and just had this breakthrough. Just utilize a moment where you have gone through this or your clients have gone through this and share that. Now share the transformation, what that looked like next, what that would look like, for your ideal clients. Then the solution, the steps to get there, and the final call to action. So the solution is of course embracing the change and, throwing away things that are not serving you within your business anymore. So putting out fires and like not being consistent with content production is not serving you and your business. So the solution to that is, first of all, it could be setting up more structures and systems to help you get your content out there. Next is outsourcing for that, or, so on. So the steps to get there, your offer, map that out, and the final call to action. Now, it doesn't have to be so structured and promotional in every single post. We can really do this in different ways through the vehicle of either educational, inspirational, promotional, and entertaining types of content. Now, the delivery is going to be, the structure is still going to be there of, this formula applies to the DMs, your Instagram stories, carousels, reels, sales pages, IG lives, TikToks, other platforms. The formula is there and it helps you bring your ideal clients through this whole journey. The delivery is just going to look different. The way that you deliver the content is going to look different, but the messaging is always going to be consistent because that's your business journey, and you've already identified and mapped out who you're wanting to serve and how to nurture them and support them in that way. Okay, so this is kind of like a structure of what that's going to look like. All of those things that we've mapped out. So a common misconception is that, educational, inspirational, promotional, entertaining are your content pillars, and then you're just kind of on the spot coming up with content around that. So that's a common misconception. Those are just types of content to produce, but your content pillars should be catered towards your ideal clients and what they're struggling with. So I see a lot of like marketing in the chat here, a lot of marketing, creative mindset systems. So I'm gonna utilize marketing as an example here. So main pillar of marketing is producing content, right? So producing content, and then the sub-content pillars for that would probably be consistency. It would probably be messaging. It could probably be types of content or ways to produce it, the delivery of it. So you're going to align that with the types of content here, the educational, inspirational, promotional, and entertaining. So again, I'm going to again put this in the chat here, but pinned to the chat is a link to this free Notion content calendar. So if you are struggling with keeping your content organized, I have this free template here for you. So educational content. So again, there's a misconception of like, okay, I don't want to keep creating how-to content, right? Like how to, this is why, or reasons that, things I see, what you should do, this is what you need. Again, I still create content like this because it's so valuable, but doesn't mean you always have to create like how to create content or how to show up on your Instagram stories, because you might feel like, okay, this is getting really repetitive. I don't want to just dive into how-tos. You can dive into shifting a whole new perspective with your audience, right? Agitation content, what they need to hear or it's time for. So for the longest time, I used to walk on eggshells around like things that I was very passionate about when it comes to marketing and sales. So I feared talking about certain topics because, I didn't want to go against the grains of traditional marketing. But I knew what worked and what didn't work, especially as a Gen Z, and what was shifting within, demographics and current, social media platforms. So, I was walking on eggshells about preaching what I really wanted to talk about. So it's okay to shift, create a whole new perspective shift with your audience and help them think of things in a different way. So for an example, this is a content piece that I shared, but this is why you don't need to spend hours in the DMs to land clients. My client booked out in clients just through marketing and barely any time in the DMs when it came around sales or selling and their offers. So that's a whole new perspective shift, because we are told like you have to spend hours or you have to nurture your ideal clients all the time in the DMs. And I don't think that's true. And I was walking on eggshells for the longest time not talking about that. So it's okay to share this as well. And this is a form of educational content because we're challenging the way that you're thinking and the perspective that you have or your ideal clients have. Again, like balance is important. So educational shouldn't be only the only type of content that you're posting. I want you to kind of lean into your brand voice and what you're passionate about, your stories and things like that as well. Now, inspirational. So inspirational, you can dive into your business journey, the time when, overcoming certain obstacles, mindset blocks, limiting beliefs, story time, or an awakening moment that you've had within your business. So inspirational, I think, is just as impactful as educational, because educational content, it helps you kind of learn more and have that perspective shift about what to prioritize within your business. So I see a lot of, again, like marketing, that's going to help your ideal clients with that. Now, inspirational helps you connect as a human being and be able to just relate on another level together. So you can also utilize storytelling from your clients, narrative or rhetorical, creating empathetic and relatable types of content. So for me, I resurface my business journey a lot because it helps us connect, especially since, being an entrepreneur, online, service-based, it's not the traditional path. I would say like 10 years ago, being a social media manager wasn't like a thing really. Like it was, but it wasn't in a sense. Or, same with marketing on this level, creativity on this level. It wasn't really a thing, especially being online. So, utilizing your story, and again, like you chose your ideal client niche, you chose to work with them for a reason, right? You like something sparked you to work with them, whether, let's say they're spiritual entrepreneurs and you had a spiritual awakening, or you really like, your spirituality or your inner self. Maybe you work with, let's see, wellness entrepreneurs, health and wellness, because maybe you started your own health and wellness journey and that really impacted you. So we all have like different reasons why we want to work with our ideal clients. I want you to like resurface that within your content and share with your audience like why it's so important for you to work with them. So this speaks to them and it helps them feel accepted and included in having a conversation with you, and not so daunted to, share more about their business or how it would look like working with you, because you're so open and accepting to having that conversation with them without them feeling the need that you're going to pitch. Okay. Now, promotional. So I used to fear promotional content so much because I didn't want to be salesy, but promotional has literally been almost equivalent to my educational and inspirational now, and it doesn't feel icky at all. And my clients can attest to that. So when it comes to promotional, you can create lots of different types of content, but client case study is an amazing way, especially if your clients are very like private or they don't want to be shared as much. You can still tell their story in an anonymous way, or testimonials, client wins, how to work with you, your offer outlines, and how you are investing in your business. So lots of different ways. And again, when it comes to investing in your business, it doesn't always come down to money. Like I'm a firm believer that you can invest in your business through your time. Like you being on this free masterclass today, like that in itself, you're investing into your business because you are investing your time into this. You're investing your energy into this. So that's also another form of investing. Now, this is leaning more into hard selling. So some of these are, leaning more towards like, this is how you can work with me. And that's okay, but balance is important. So selling means that you're confident in what you're offering. When we are not selling, it can show, it can create a way for your ideal clients when they're consuming your content of like, okay, this is amazing, but how do I change this? If you're not creating, an offer or like a way for them to work with you, it can really damage the conversion process for your ideal clients, because they're like, okay, I have this whole perspective shift on needing to invest in X, Y, and Z area, but I don't see an offer of how I can work with you. So I'm going to do more research elsewhere. So it's important to kind of like have a solution to the problem that your ideal clients are struggling with. So you could be soft promotional or hard promotional. You might subconsciously see like I am really self-promotional throughout my content. So for an example, sometimes I'll like hop on my Instagram stories, like today, this is what I'm up to. Or today I get to do X, Y, and Z. And then I would be like, accepting, or welcoming new women into our masterclass for next week. You're just talking about it. And that is in itself like promotional. Oh, like I didn't hear about masterclass. Can you tell me more about that? And it's free and it's so valuable. Okay, I want in. So that is a great way for you to be promotional in a soft way. So if you really struggle with your like selling or promotional content, I want you to start with the softer things as well. So for an example, like what you're up to today, working on this new offer for those who are struggling with X, Y, and Z. DM me if you want more information, or just leave it at that. Right? So there's lots of different ways that you can be promotional without feeling the ick towards selling. Now, entertaining. So time lapse of you working behind the scenes of your business, what's new, your likes, personal brand vibes, all that good stuff. So entertaining is an opportunity for your audience to get to know you on a deeper level. So this is highly reflective on your personal brand. So you can share a day in my life, join me as I do this, or outfit of the day, from working from home, what you're loving, all of those things. So sometimes when it comes to entertaining or personal brand types of content, we have this like mental battle. Again, raise of hands. Have you ever felt like, okay, am I being professional enough? Or is this like too unprofessional if I'm sharing this? Has anyone ever felt that? Pop in the chat or raise your hand. Yeah. Okay, I see a lot of hand raises here. And that is so common to feel that way. And I want you to know, like, it's okay to feel that way. But again, I also want to have this perspective shift with you. The thing is, when it comes to what's professional enough, what is not professional enough being in the online space, you can, so something that I suggested to one of my clients, she worked with health and wellness coaches. And I'm like, why did you decide to work with them? Like, what was like the spark of, that passion, why you wanted to be, working with them in their world? And one of the major things was like, she really loves health and wellness herself. And she, really connected with that niche. So then I was like, okay, so what do you do on a daily basis that that kind of ties in with your ideal client? So she said, every morning I drink my greens, and it's like green juice or with some powder or something. And I was like, okay, share that. And she's like, well, that's not really like professional enough. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be, because it's a gateway for you guys to have that conversation about something that relates you two together. And another thing is, you can utilize that as B-roll, right? Have it in the background to show, like, to catch their attention, have that hook, but you could talk about like something totally different. So if you're here, you probably already know, and I have one here. I'm obsessed with iced vanilla lattes. I'm gonna take a sip. I'm obsessed with coffee, and I don't make that my whole personality or anything, but sometimes on my close friends list, I'll be like, join me as I make a iced vanilla latte, and I'm going to talk about what's going on with my business. Whatever the content is, like, the messaging is different. The messaging in itself was like, what's going on in my business. The delivery was me making, or the delivery was Instagram stories, and the vehicle was, the iced vanilla latte, right? So you can definitely create these little pockets of ways to share your personal brand or things about you for your ideal clients, to your audience, to really get to know you on a deeper level as well, and spark those conversations, but also talk about other things as well. So entertaining is never like not professional enough, or too professional. it's your Instagram, it's your business. You get to run it the way that you want to. So don't hold back if you feel like you are and you're wanting to show up more like yourself. I say go for it. Okay, so now finally, actionable steps with content production. So if earlier you voted for A, you're feeling stagnant content production. So you're feeling frozen when it comes to creating content, or you don't know what to post or talk about, and you're just overthinking a lot of the aesthetics as well. I want you to implement these actionable steps. So I want you to create 3 go-to on-brand templates. Okay, make sure like it's what you want. What I do with my content, I literally copy and paste my templates every time I create content. I have like 3 go-to ones. If you dive into my content, you'll know like the background is different sometimes, but like the layout is all the same. And I kind of go back and forth with 3 different ones. Excuse me, I go back and forth. So this way, like you're not overthinking too much about like the layout and stuff. You are just producing the content, and the messaging is already done for you when you've reverse engineered it through what we were talking about earlier. All the hard part is done for you. Well, once you actually do it. But now, when it comes down to posting the content, you can just create those templates, copy them, and hit go, right? And then also, I want you to lean into more expansive types of content. So right now, maybe you're feeling like frozen because you're feeling repetitive in the types of content that you're producing. So a lot of like how-tos, or this is what you need to do and things like that. And frankly, you're feeling disconnected because it feels repetitive and it feels a little too, 2D for you. I'm a huge 3D, 4D, like bring your content to life kind of girl. So if you're feeling like, oh, this is not really what I want to do, I want you to lean into the more expansive types of content, like the agitation, the perspective shifts, content like that. Number 3, I want you to document, not constantly create. So a thing when it comes to stagnant content production is like, okay, I need to sit down and create all of this content. I need to like get ready one day and just like batch film everything. When we kind of make this like this big task, it can be really overwhelming. So if you are struggling with stagnant content production, I want you to more so document what you're doing, because you're going to be supporting your clients anyways. Like you're doing your check-ins, or you're doing your check-in calls, or for me personally, I do like daily Voxer check-ins 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and before I log off for the end of the day. So during that time, I'm going to do it anyways. I might as well record it. So the thing is, I switched it up a little bit because I used to do it on my phone, but now I just do on Google Chrome Voxer and then have my mic, and that way I can record it. But yeah, document, not create content out of the blue, especially if you feel really like daunted with the content production or sitting down and creating everything. Okay. Now, B. So if you feel like you are content overdrive, you absolutely love creating content, you're just super consistent putting content out there, but your ideal clients aren't really like, eating it up as much as you'd like to, I want you to take these actionable steps and implement it. I want you to take one day to be intentional with your content. So what I like to do is CEO days. So I do this typically like once a week, typically on Mondays, where I just like sit down and I'm like, what do I want to talk about? I'm not a huge like create content 1 month, 3 months, a year in advance or anything. I'm just like, okay, what do I want to talk about? What are my intentions this week? And how can I emulate that within my content? Okay. And then I would also suggest number 2, speak with your ideal clients on a deeper level. So I want you to kind of like dive deeper into what their needs are. So again, when I said the ideal client symmetry or being on the same wavelength, make sure that you are resurfacing that within your content. And if you are struggling with that, I highly recommend you to do some more market research or be really intuitive in the DMs or your client conversations. Now, 3, conversational versus regurgitate. That was a tough word to say. But if you are struggling with content overdrive, I want you to kind of like start having more conversational types of content, like open-ended questions. Like, let's say, for an example, you specialize in marketing. Let's say, let's see, your content is not converting. Why might that be? Or something like that. Or you're not seeing a lot of visibility within your content. These could be the reasons why. You're starting conversation, but it's more so like, we don't really know until we kind of analyze it together. Versus, these are the only 3 reasons why. And then, being very factual with it. If you feel like your ideal clients are not really engaging or taking it in, they probably want to feel more included in the conversation. So kind of ask more open-ended questions in that way, more reflective. Now, C, content confusion. So if you feel like, you know what content that you want to create, but you feel like something's missing, or your analytics are not necessarily like converting in the way that you're wanting to, I want you to implement these actionable steps. So number 1, don't analyze the numbers, but instead tweak. So as things come up, start tweaking things. Okay, this content piece had lots and lots of saves, right? But no one clicked my link after. So people are loving it, but they're not, clicking the link to see how they can work with you. Okay, now I'm analyzing this. Okay, I didn't give them a call to action to click on my link. Maybe next time I'm going to create this similar piece of content that's really highly savable. I'm going to create a call to action for them to click the link to work with me after. Okay, now number 2, content production. More content that you're producing, the more data you have to work with. So what I want you to do is not so much over analyze like what the numbers are. So when you see a content piece that didn't perform well, don't archive it, don't delete it, just work with it and produce more data. So the next time you tweet that, a lot of saves, okay, I'm seeing more link clicks, but not a lot of people are actually applying to work with me. Okay, now work with that again. Okay, what is this data telling me? So a lot of people are saving this. A lot of people are clicking the link in my bio, but they're not applying to work with me. I need more authority in the way within my messaging of why they need to hit submit within the application. Okay. And number 3, let things flow. So talk about topics that need to be talked about. Don't feel like you're walking on eggshells. It's your content. It's your Instagram. It's your business. You get to talk about what you want to. And again, when it comes to being in the online space, and I know each of you have felt this before, it's like, you're being pulled one way and another. Like, you have to show up on video. You don't need to show up on video. You have to only post reels. No, you can post carousels too. We're always being pulled in one way or another, but when we are being stuck in that, we're taking 4 steps forward, 3 steps forward, 4 steps back, and it can be really frustrating. So I want you to create content and talk about things that really stand out. So you're calling in your people, you're calling in those who really want to be immersed in the topics that you preach, that you love. Okay. All right, so thank you so much for joining 3 years in biz with me. I can't believe it's been 3 years since I've started my business as a virtual assistant, and then a social media manager, social media coach, now business and marketing mentor. So you have 48 hours of the replay access. I'll have that emailed to you or in the DMs. Within 3 years in biz, I had 3 ways to work with me. So we had the free masterclass, which was today, Master Your Selling, and VIP days. So my VIP days are officially booked out, which is crazy. But if you're looking for more support or kind of wanting more support in exactly like how to execute this for you and your business, you can work with me within the 4-week group coaching program. It's a weekly dripped video modules. And then we're going to have, weekly group coaching sessions where it's like hot seat. You can ask any questions, I'll answer them, and, cater towards what you're needing more support in. There is that one-on-one support within our Geneva group chat where you can share any content or anything that you're looking to be reviewed, and I will have that reviewed for you. So I am so happy that you guys have tuned in. Again, questions. So all the questions will be resurfaced in an Instagram live to be scheduled, and you'll have lifetime viewing on my Instagram afterwards on that. So again, my last curious, pop in the chat, ask me anything, and I'll have that answer for you. So don't hesitate. Let's see. Thank you, every one of you, for joining. I'm so happy that I got to spend 3 years in biz with each and every one of you here, and I'm so thankful. Yay. I'm so happy to hear that you guys found this so valuable. I could talk about content for hours. I could talk about marketing and sales for hours. So I'm so happy that you guys loved this. Amazing. So again, if you have any additional questions and you don't want to pop in here, you can just DM me on Instagram at IamVickyFan, and we can definitely have that conversation. Okay. I'm just gonna stay on here for a couple more minutes. Just go ahead and ask any questions if you have. This is amazing. Yay. Okay, so I don't see any questions, but if you want, I'll send questions over after the replay. Okay, amazing. So if you have any questions, just pop them in my DMs. I'm going to do an Instagram live. I'll probably put it on my Instagram stories as well. But thank you, every one of you who joined, and I'm so happy that you found it valuable. Again, if you have any questions, just pop in the DMs. But that being said, thank you so much, and I will see you guys another time, maybe on the live. Okay, bye.